Richard, and I'm going to go through some nice simple stuff for you today. We're going to do a warm-up, we're going to do some simple punches, just things to help you get started. Right, so I'm going to do this as though this was your first ever lesson, or actually, a better description is some advice before you go to your first lesson. And remember, martial arts, kickboxing, karate, all combat sports, you're always going to be better off learning person to person, actually in a class, doing this stuff with the real people. This is a pretty poor substitute, but it works well if A, you need to get some confidence about what you need to do in that first class, and B, if you just can't get to classes. Anyway, enough of that. I know I go on about that quite a lot, so let's go on with some techniques. So first of all, let's get ourselves warmed up. Now, I'm not going to be doing any kicking on this video, so I don't need my legs to be especially warm. I don't need my hamstrings and adductors and glutes to be completely stretched out. I just need to get warm, get my blood flowing, get my arms moving, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so let's just start off with a nice light jog. Now, you probably know I have a full-time martial arts academy, and we sometimes record these slots from that location. But I thought, opposite Albertini, I thought it would be nice if I did, if I made a video for home training from my home, because then it sort of really fits in, doesn't it? You know, my space is limited, as I'm sure yours is, and it's a bit more relevant, I think, to do something that's about home training from home. Okay, jog again and punch. So, I hope you can see the logic. It's just a way to perhaps make it more appropriate, make the training more appropriate and more focused on you guys. I'm going to punch upwards. Good, so hold your arms out to the side and in front. It is always important to warm up. You're gonna strain something or pull something or tweak something if you don't warm up. Well, let's go opposite Albertini again. It's good to just get your legs warmed up. As I said, we're not going to be doing very much with our legs except making a stance today, so my legs don't need to be completely stretched out, but it's always good to get them warm. Good, alright, so put one arm across your body and put it in close with the other arm. Feel it stretch the back of your shoulder here. That's good. Now the other side. Now if you've done this or some other video and you have a really good warm-up routine, don't think you have to stick to mine. As long as you do a good warm-up and you're completely warm, then that's the most important thing. I want you to push your hands together. So I'm pushing palm against palm. Excellent. Now lock your fingers and pull apart. Lovely. I'm going to put one hand on top of the other and push up with the lower hand and down with the upper hand. So I'm forcing this one up and this one down. Excellent. Change over. Just trying to get those shoulder muscles really warmed up, the ones that wrapped around my shoulder joint and my elbows as well, because I want everything to be flowing nicely. Right, hand behind your head and pull it back with the other arm, with the other hand. So I've even gone to the trouble of not wearing particularly martial arty gear today, just a pair of normal shorts and a hoodie. Obviously it's got Black Belt Academy on this side and Brain Dojo on this side, but it's pretty much a normal hoodie and a t-shirt. So I've really tried to not be have anything official and make it a real home training session. Good, alright, so let's have one arm going up and one down like this. Just some more work with getting those shoulders loosened off. That's good. Let's go across our bodies. Lovely, right, let's do some front crawl. Get those arms up, get those arms up by your ears. See if you can brush your ears with your upper arms as you come round. Good, now back crawl. Turn those palms outwards as your arms come up. It's good. Get a good stretch. Back muscles, chest muscles will get warmed up. Good, across your body. Right, now elbows up and twist round to your left. Just twist that torso, loosen the back muscles and the abdominal muscles and your obliques. And round to the other side. Good, let's go back the other way again. And back again the other side. Okay, so we're looking at karate style punching. Real basic stuff, right from the word go, right from the off. So the first thing we need to look at is a stance. So in preparation for you going to a class, let's say that you probably make a set or attention position first, probably, and then you'll probably do something like this or this before you move into a stance. So this might be called Jumbi if you do Taekwondo, it might be called Yui if you do karate, but it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just a position to show that you're ready for action, you're ready to move into a stance. Alright, so let's move into a stance. Let's start with our left leg forward. Again, it doesn't matter, especially when you're training at home, you can choose whichever leg you want to have in front first. I would always advise you to work both sides, both stances, because it just evens everything up nicely. Alright, now, a stance. Let's look at a stance. Let's assume the camera is in the direction of my target, of my opponent. Then I'm going to have my feet about as wide as my shoulders in that direction, my feet. My stance as wide as my shoulders in that direction. Well, my feet were as wide as my shoulders. Anyway, if my stance is wide as my shoulders. Both knees bent, so I can move forward and move back easily. I'm going to have my hands up this way. Now, I think we have to look straight away at whether you're thinking about karate as a real life self-defense type technique, or you're looking at it as a sparring technique so you can move around with other people and have a practice, or whether you're looking at it as a sporting competition type system. So where you place your hands will vary enormously depending on which mode you're thinking. But let's not worry too much about that. Let's not get too stuck in hand positions. Let's just put them in a nice neutral position, hands up this way, because this is a nice position where you can work anything from. Not quite as high as a kickboxer would have their hands, perhaps, just down here. And if you watch later videos, I'll explain all about how hand positions can work, and pulling hands, and how both hands are always involved in everything, but not at a beginner level. Alright, so here we go. From this hand position, we're going to extend our front hand forward. So if you've made a left stance, this will be a left hand punch, won't it? So I want you to extend out your arm, and as it reaches full extension, I'd like you to turn it palm downwards. Right, so this way, so reach out this way, palm downwards. Now remember, this is a beginner level video. I don't want to give you too much to think about all in one go. It's nice simple stuff. My hands are up, my front hand goes out, my palm goes down. Now if I were making contact with something, I would make contact with these two knuckles, the large knuckles first. So my hand needs to be slightly turned outwards so that these two knuckles are in line with my arm. So here, this way. Good. Alright, if I turn sideways, you might be able to see something different, see a little bit better. So from here, we're going to extend out this way. Alright, now you can probably see, especially when you look at me from the side, you can see how my body turns and how I'm pushing my weight forward. And all of these things are important, but let's get the hand technique right first. Let's get the actual motion correct first. Then we can worry about adding on the twist and the move forward and how the body weight affects everything. Right, so we're here just extending this arm out and back. Arm out and back. And when you have this hand, it's okay, as long as it's being used for something. And again, we'll get into what your other hand can be doing more in a little while, but basics first. Alright, so hand out and back. And back. Now obviously, or to me it's obvious, I want to be able to reach as far as I can to be able to keep myself safe from an opponent, rather than having him closer. If I had a choice of whether he's further away or nearer, I'd choose further away. Yeah, so I want to be able to reach as far as I can with this technique. Alright, so let's change sides, change legs, and we'll do the other way. Alright, so right hand, just down and back. And obviously you can pause the video, and you can practice these more, or you can whiz forward if I'm boring you want to go on with something else, then it's fine. So just extend out this way, and again I'll show you from the side. So just extending the arm out this way, and keeping the other hand up. So really simple, and I hope that you can see I am moving forward, I am turning my shoulders, I am using my hips, I am using my everything. Everything is involved when you punch. It's never just an arm. I hope you can see that, but I'm trying not to confuse you with too much information early on. Right, so I'm just letting you see the action, make up your own minds about moving your body, but getting the actual arm action correct first. Okay, good. Now, if you're in a karate class and whatever, you would probably, when you do a technique and then you finish it, maybe a group of techniques or whatever, you'll probably be told either gomon or yoi, so from here, or yame rather, so from here you might come back and do this, if yame was the command, if it's a Japanese style, or from here you might do this, gomon, if it's a Korean style. But again, it doesn't really matter. The thing is, if you do go to classes, then you'll soon pick that up. Alright, so a usual format would be this, followed by this or this, and then you go into a stance. You might actually be told to step back into a stance, and that's fine as well. Fit in with whatever your class is doing, and then you'll see what their small differences are. But the idea of this video help you to understand punches. Alright, so that's a front hand punch. Let's look at a backhand punch, a reverse punch. Alright, so let's do the same again. Let's do our set position. Do Junbi or Yoi, and then left leg forward, hands up. So this time we're going to punch with our backhand. Now this is a much more powerful punch because it has more travel, it has more distance. You can get more oomph into it. Alright, so from this position then, you just extend out this way. And again, as your arm reaches full extension, you turn your hand palm down. Good, so you twist in, get as much reach as you can. And this is quite difficult to do if you haven't got a nice wide stance. So for instance, if I stood with my feet in line to you, and I tried to punch this way, twist in, it's quite difficult for me to twist like this. So make sure that your stance is nice and open, as we call it. Probably a good guide is, could you point your belly button towards your target? If you can't, then perhaps you need to open up your stance a bit. So if my feet are in line, it's quite difficult for me to point my belly button towards my target there. Alright, so if I open it up a bit, then I can get that belly button round to point towards you. And that's a reasonably good guide for a reverse punch. Actually, it's a reasonably good guide for a good stance. Alright, so from this position now, let's do a few more of these punches, extending out this way and this way. And also, a lot of styles put an emphasis on the pullback as well. So let's go out and back, so you get a nice pumping action. So here and back. And sometimes that's a stylised thing. Some styles would do it from here anyway, so you tend to go here and come back to here, so it's not quite such a stylistic action. But there are pluses and minuses for each. Let's not, again, clutter your brain up with too much information at a beginning level. Alright, so let's go here, let's do a few more of these. And obviously I can punch at any height with this. I can punch low, down to my opponent's lower abdomen. Up here, chest height, I can punch them on the arms, give them a dead arm, and face punch this way as well. Right, so the height can vary. I've just got to try and use all my body. Now, I'll turn sideways so you can see. Again, I'm going to let you watch this and see for yourself how I'm twisting and moving my weight forward, but I'm not going to clutter you up with too much information at the moment. If you want to take on board more, then do it visually. Just watch what I do and copy rather than think too much about it. Alright, so we're here twisting in this way. Pushing into that backhand. And you can see this punch travels quite a bit more, quite a longer distance than the front hand punch. So you've got much shorter travel. So it's going to pick up more speed and more power. It's quite a nice technique for picking up. Very efficient technique. Good, right, let's go the other way. So let's get a nice wide stance. And you can see that my stance front to back is about twice as much as it is this way. So if you take the width from my shoulder to my shoulder this way, it's approximately twice that much. So from the back of this heel to the front of those toes is roughly twice the width of my shoulders. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's a good guide. Right, so here, twisting in this way. Remember to turn your hand over at the end. And you might want to pull it right back from here, very stylised, and pull back to here. And this way. Good. Or a little bit more freestyle, come from here and back. As I said, there's good and bad for both. I wouldn't say that anything is right and anything else is wrong. It's all what you're punching for. You know, and even if you said, well, I'm punching to stay safe, well, there's even more information you need to take on board, depending on whether you know what to do with the other hand or not. But anyway, let's again not clutter you up with too much information. Let's just get some basic techniques right to start with. Good. Okay. Ooh. So again, from that position, from my punch position, I would have done Gamon, or Yui, or Yame, and then to finish. Alright, so nice simple video, just covering front hand straight punch, snap punch, and reverse punch, backhand straight punch. Hope you found it interesting. If you have, then and you want to leave a comment, please do so. If you'd like more in-depth information on front hand punch and backhand punch, then you can go to our website, go to the Brain Dojo website, and you can log on to there and you can sign up for, I think it's 28 days access to all our information free of charge. So you can have everything for free for 28 days. If you think it's worthwhile, great, we'd love to have you as a member, love to have you as a customer. And if you don't think it's worthwhile, no problem, we understand. Alright, so everything there covered in a little bit more depth. Alright, well thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.